So in just 2 months, Connor has achieved a remarkable 7,365% growth rate in his Instagram following after joining the Outdoor Creator Academy. And we were kind of talking about this before, and it isn't the first time we've seen this happen, because we also had Mike Verd on a couple months ago who kind of experienced a similar growth rate. But yeah, man, so today we're going to find out a little bit more about Connor's journey, and then explore some of the strategies and insights that led to his recent successes here. I'll leave a link below to the Outdoor Creator Academy if you want to try it out and join it for yourself. But welcome to the podcast, Connor.
Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, that was an awesome intro. I've never been announced like that before, so cool.
Heck yeah, man. We were just talking before we started filming, but Connor basically inspired me to actually create my own gear room, because one of the things we'll kind of talk about, one of the things that he found a lot of success with in his recent post was posting about his gear room, and people were really kind of interested about that. And so I went and I bought my own Amazon. It's not as high speed as yours. Did you put that together yourself?
Yeah, so everything in my gear room is all handmade. That I just bought framing lumber from a local hardware store. Then there's a few like metal racks that I had in my garage that just weren't being used. I was like, slide those in there, because honestly I got lazy and I didn't want to build more shelving. I'm like, I'll just repurpose those. But yeah, otherwise everything else is handmade.
Oh man, I love it, dude. That's that Wisconsin work ethic right there. Everybody's good with freaking lumber and all that stuff. Yeah, man, I love it. So, well, I kind of wanted to back up before you started posting more reels and stuff like that on your Instagram. Can you tell me a little bit about like your current job background, what you kind of had going on with that, and then what led you to enroll in the Outdoor Creator Academy kind of in the first place?
Yeah, sure. So I initially went to school for criminal justice, and then about not quite 5 years, but coming up on 5 years ago, I started working in law enforcement. And I've been doing that ever since, and I've been enjoying it. And it's been great because it allows me to get quite a bit of time off, a lot of paid time off away from work that I can then go out and hike and camp and do everything else that I want to. But I've had a small YouTube channel now for a handful of years, and I just kind of started posting to that more so for fun. It was so that like my friends and family could see some of the videos and the trips, because like my two passions are the outdoors, and then I really like photography and videography. So it kind of like melded those two together. And initially it was really just for fun. And then I started getting, not a big following by any means, but started getting like people commenting on it and asking questions. And I thought that was really cool, because that's what I use YouTube for a lot of times, is to do research on a trail or find out about this new piece of equipment that I'm looking into buying. And so I started making those videos. So then while working in law enforcement, I kind of continued to do that, but it was something that I want to get posting more regular. But I'm sure, as you know, trying to post like documentary long videos, it's not easy. And to film those and then to try and edit them and put them together while working a full-time job is very difficult. So the idea was, when I found you and started looking into this Outdoor Creator Academy, I was like, okay, I want to build my platform here, but I don't know how. I have no idea how, as far as like the direction, because I'd make these videos that I would spend 3-4 weeks editing, post, and I'd be like, this is a great video. And then it would get like 300 views and stop, and I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't really worth it, I guess, you know.
Yep, absolutely. So was that posting on your YouTube, or were you posting Instagram reels at the time, or were you even involved in Instagram at the
So I had an Instagram. I was only posting on YouTube. Instagram I was using just for posting the occasional picture, but I really wasn't putting any effort into it whatsoever. And then I never had a TikTok up until about 2 weeks ago. Okay. I was like, well, going off of your academy, I was like, I need to kind of start cross posting on all these platforms. So download that and start putting it on there. But then my Instagram, I didn't start posting reels until I started working with you. Right. And then once I started doing that, all of a sudden I started seeing Instagram really start to take off. And my YouTube is still really small, but
Mhm.
I haven't posted a video on it in a little while, just because I have a few that I'm working on that are those longer videos. But all of a sudden, my YouTube subscriber count started to go up, and that was just because I think people saw in one of those gear room videos I post at the end of it, like if people want to see a longer video, they can go to my YouTube channel and I'll throw one up there. And then all of a sudden, I
Nice.
started getting subscribers consistently every single day, whereas normally I would go, months without seeing. I'd get like one subscriber every 2 months, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a win.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Wow. Okay. So yeah, and it you could really tell like your Instagram account prior to you started posting reels, you were posting really, really good photos. I mean, you could tell that you were a very talented photographer. And at that time, it looks like you started posting, well, you joined with me I think around in November,
Hmm.
and I think you started posting your first reels around mid-November or something like that. What was your follower base prior to you posting reels and now, and then what did you see it change to after you started posting some of those?
Yeah, so it was just over 100 followers when I started posting reels. And I joined with you in November, but due to some work constraints,
Mhm.
I really wasn't able to get into the academy till about end of November, December. So that's when I started kind of going through your whole curriculum there. And then from there, I started posting in December a little bit more regularly, trying to get in at least a video every few days, trying to work it to every day. And then I
Right.
shared a video it's December 15th, and it actually didn't gain traction for like 5 days. It was just kind of, it
Interesting.
was like, I don't know, maybe like 300 views for close to a week. And then I woke up one morning and just opened up my Instagram, and it was like, you have 400 plus followers and like all these comments. And like, so I was like, what is going on? And then I went back and saw that video. I was like, oh, interesting. That kind of took off all of a sudden. So then at that point, when I posted that video, I was at 147 followers. And then I think now I'm at like 10.8 thousand or something like that.
Yeah, dude. That is so nuts, man. Yeah, so like what was it about the reel do you think that kind of made that take off to you, or did you kind of dive into it? And because I mean it seems like what happens to people sometimes is they'll have something that pops off, but then it's kind of a one and done. It's a one hit wonder.
Yo.
But for you, you had one that really popped off. I think it had a 2 million, two and
Yeah, it's
something
like
million views,
2.7 million right now or something like that.
2.7 million
Yep.
views. But you kept following that up with more good videos. Maybe they didn't hit 2.7, 2.8 million views, but they still were doing really, really well in the algorithm. What do you think was around that, or what was going through your head at that time?
Yeah. So Ray, a couple days after that kind of took off, I actually watched your video about snowballing that effect, because you had that video that hit like 18 million and how to keep
Mm-hmm.
that enrolling. So I started taking little tips from you about just commenting with people. I had a lot of people like direct messaging me, just saying like, "Oh, that's really cool. How did you build this?" And so I was making sure to comment and respond to every single one of those people.
Hell
And
yeah.
it got, I mean, there's a few people that, I mean, I talked to them for a day or two, maybe 3 days of just like giving them instructions on how to build stuff. And so I
Nice.
think that really helped with keeping it going, because then I mean, people saw I was engaging then with my audience. And
Right.
then that was right around the holiday times, and so I was gone a lot. I was really busy with work. I'm like, "Ah," and I had a lot of people asking for like a full walkthrough. Because so when I posted that initial video, I was actually at home, and I'm like, I just need a video to post out. I can't really film anything right now. And that was an old video I had on my phone from maybe 6 months ago that I had sent to a friend. I was just like, oh, like he had seen my gear room, and I was just like, oh, like, yeah, I cleaned it up a little bit. So I just sent it to him. Well, then I found that video still on my phone. I was like, I had this audio. Like I could meld those two together. Like it was just supposed to be a video to try and stay consistent with posting. And
Yeah.
then it just exploded like we were talking about. And then from there started commenting with people, liking people. responding in the DMs to anybody that asks, and then a lot of people requested a longer walkthrough. So I think
Sure.
when I posted that, that video hit 1 million views as well, and that was a longer walkthrough. And I think that continued that snowball you were talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, very important, right? When
Hmm.
you have something that clicks, you want to I kind of talk about I think I did a video about it in the course, right? And it's kind of you're creating that snowball effect to where you're rolling a snowball down the hill, the snowball is gaining more and more momentum, it's
Hmm.
gaining more snow, and that's kind of how I think about a viral video. And one of the things that I did with that one that I had with 18 million was I actually put a CTA call to action in there to share if this is you. And as soon as I did that, it kind of exponentially increased. And then I was seeing, how you can see people sharing your stuff. I'd have 25 people sharing my stuff every hour.
Hmm.
And it was just kept going, kept going. So it sounds like for you, and one of the things we talked about too was commenting. So now people know that you're engaging with their stuff. I mean, it's how do you feel when you comment on somebody's thing and then they actually get back to you? In your head, you're kind of thinking, "Oh, that's pretty
Oh
cool."
yeah, it makes it like makes it a lot more personable, where you
Yeah,
feel connected with that person on a little bit more intimate level, even though you've never met, you never talked in person. It doesn't feel like you're
yeah,
just posting some random account. And it's just you're just getting lost in that feed. So
right.
commenting, and then also if I didn't comment to everyone, but posting that longer walkthrough video shows that you're
Yes,
listening to your audience. You're kind of taking in what
totally.
they're saying, going, what would you guys like to see from me? What can I offer you? And then
Right.
delivering that to them. And I think I had a comment that a guy said, like, I posted the walkthrough and he was one of the ones who initially asked for a walkthrough. He commented on the second video saying, saying this was great, this is amazing, at
Nice.
pointing out, and then he said thank you for listening, either to the requests slash demands of the people, type of thing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, that's the whole purpose of why I'm on here, is because again, I got a lot of help from the people I follow on YouTube and
Hmm.
Instagram, and then so now if I can start delivering that towards other people, that's great. That's fantastic.
Right on, man. Let's back up to even before you started posting your reels and things like that. What were some of the challenges or struggles that you faced building an online presence? And we'll take Instagram for example for this one. What were some of the challenges or struggles that you had maybe before joining the academy that were just something that you felt like you couldn't get over, or maybe you didn't understand something?
Hmm.
Was there anything like that?
Yeah. Well, again, with Instagram, my problem was I wasn't posting reels. I was saving videos specifically just for YouTube, and I was like, oh, Instagram is just where I just post pictures. And
Yeah.
at that time, I wasn't spending a lot of time on Instagram, like scrolling myself either. So to me, it was just kind of a
Mhm.
place that I could just share my photos, because I looked at YouTube as this is the platform that I share videos. Instagram is the
Mhm.
place that I share my photography. And I tried to separate the two, and they just, again, the Instagram never grew. And even though YouTube is still really popular, the platforms like TikTok and Instagram that are quick and easy to scroll through are a lot more popular with audience nowadays. So
Yeah.
I think the my biggest problem with growing is I wasn't posting these short reels on Instagram, and my videos that I was posting on YouTube were these lengthy videos that, even though there were some people that really liked them, and I like to watch longer videos, it's a smaller window of people that are willing to sit down for 30 minutes trail video than it is for somebody who's just bored on their phone scrolling and they can watch 15 seconds. So I think
Totally.
the hardest part was trying to understand that this video that I just spent the last 4 weeks editing isn't as entertaining to other people as it is to me. And I need to start
Yeah.
looking at what's more interesting towards the general public, in our niche, versus just what I think is fun to watch.
Yeah. Okay. So did you take a little slice from other creators at that point? Did you kind of study some other people, or how did that work for you?
Yeah, I mean, we all know Dan Becker. So I've been following him since he was like 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, really long
Mhm.
time. And I started seeing more and more on YouTube. him posting shorts. And I was like, that's interesting. Why is I didn't know if it was just because it was just easier to post shorts or what. And then it didn't really click that this is where you're getting more engagement until I signed up to your academy. And then when I started watching your videos and you explaining why it is that people are going more this route, that I started going, okay, maybe I should start trying this. And even initially, I didn't get a whole lot of response, but it was still more response than when I was just posting my photographs, because I was
Right.
lucky if I'd get like 15 likes on one photograph, and I'm pretty sure
Right.
like at least half of those were my family, and then the other half were friends, or and then maybe some random person in there. So
Yeah.
it was definitely trying to understand what it is that the public, the people that are following, want to see in this day and age.
Right. And the algorithm too,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
It's like what is trending right now, what's popular right now in the algorithm. And one thing I always talk about is the underappreciated attention. The reason Dan Becker was posting YouTube Shorts is because not a lot of people were posting it at that time. And I still think YouTube Shorts is a really good underappreciated attention place to get stuff out because there's a lot of demand, not a lot of supply yet.
Hmm.
Because what a lot of people will do will post their reel, post their TikTok, but they never cross promote it to YouTube,
Yep.
either because they're lazy or they just don't know about it. And so, yeah, I think that's a big hack.
And I think part of it too is just not knowing you can cross post. Like it
Yeah.
never came across my mind that, oh, I could take the same video from TikTok and I could share it on my Instagram and I could share it on my
Mm-hmm.
YouTube Shorts. Like I don't know why that never crossed my mind. And I watch, so many YouTubers where it's like how to grow big on YouTube, and it always just seemed they're making it sound like, oh, it's so easy. You just do this little
Oh, I know.
platform and it'll work out for you. And then I would do that and it's like nothing's happening, and it was so difficult. So just having that the little bit of insight from your academy where it's like, all right, we'll push you in this direction. You can cross promote, just little stuff like that. It's like, oh, why didn't I think of that? That's so smart.
Yeah.
you know.
Right. Sometimes. Yep. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it just allows you to reach more of an audience in a simple way versus like in my mind, I was like, oh, I have to have a different post for TikTok. I have a different post for Instagram. I have a different post for YouTube. I'm like, that's a lot of work for somebody who's still
It
working
is.
40 hours a week and trying to maintain like your normal lifestyle, your work life, and then okay, now I got to do this work on top of it. When it's like, no, you don't
Mhm.
have to do all that work because you can roll it all into one and then just cross post, and that helped a
Oh,
lot.
yeah. And that's why I love short form content
Hmm.
because all of these platforms, because you make one long form horizontal YouTube video, and I'm totally with you. I love to make them. It takes a lot of time. The problem is that you can't really cross. It's only living on YouTube.
Yep.
Whereas you create a TikTok or an Instagram reel, you download that, now you post it to 3, 4 other places. And there is ways around that with YouTube. That Descript app that I talk about in the course, you can actually scale it down to a square 1 by 1.
Hmm.
Works pretty well, but it still isn't the what is it, 9 by 16 by 9, whatever the heck
Yep.
ratio it is for short form. So it does get a little bit lost, but yeah, no, short form's great for that stuff. So I guess how has your content strategy now shifted after not only just taking the course, but also with your recent successes? Where do you see yourself going?
Yeah. So I'm starting to film vertical now, which was never a thing when I first started.
No.
I would get so annoyed with my friends when I'd be like, "Hey, like, we're hiking through this canyon. Can you
Yep.
film this for the video?" And they film a vertical video, and I'm like, "No, no, no, no. I need you to film it this way
Yeah,
because I need
I
I
know.
need I need that, that widescreen for YouTube." And it would drive me just up a wall, and I
Yep.
never I mean, I understood like people were filming vertical for those other platforms, but at that time I wasn't posting on those other platforms. So I've now shifted to, okay, I'm gonna film more vertical. Last summer was the first time I actually was like, all right, when I go on trips, I was still filming this way, and then I was like, I got to make sure periodically to flip the camera and just get a few shots. If I think this is a really good shot,
I know.
get a vertical one. So the way I filmed has changed. Also, I used to be really anal about how I would set up everything. I mean, lighting, everything like this. I'd get my camera in the perfect position, everything like that. And now I'm like, I still do that, but I just set up my phone on a tripod and I just film. And it's like, okay, it's, yes, it looks good when you have really good lighting and everything like that. But being more consistent about posting seems to get you more benefit than quality content. Because again, on
Sure.
my longer videos, I thought like, man, these are really good quality. I'm filming in 4K. I For years I would carry when I would hike. I had a 3-axis gimbal that batteries in it. I already charge it, and I had my DSLR on there, and I'm getting these perfectly buttery smooth shots. And I'm like, this looks great. Again, no one really seemed to like it as much as I did. So starting to film that way has really changed. And then also the kind of content. I never saw myself being in like the entertainment kind of
Sure.
niche so much. And, in your course, talk about inspire, entertain, educate. And my direction was, well, like, I have a lot of information I feel like I could share as far as like education purposes. I started posting some of the entertainment ones just because I'm trying to get a little bit more used to being on camera for these like little short videos. And then all of a sudden, the entertainment videos started to do really well, I found out. And so now when I'm scrolling through Instagram trying to figure out the next video I could post or like audio, I'm thinking differently instead of processing and going, what can I teach somebody, instead of going, wow, what kind of tips do I have to share? Now I'm looking at these videos and I'll hear an audio that's on a video that's completely unrelated to hiking, but I go, all right, now how that's a good audio. How could I put that into a hiker format that's also really relatable to everybody? And I think that's what grabs
Yes.
people the most is some of my more successful entertainment videos is people can really relate to them, and that's why they think they're funny and entertaining and want to share them.
Love that. So, a couple things out of that. Talk about being a producer rather than a consumer
Mm-hmm.
on these social media sites. And I can already tell the way you're scrolling through Instagram right now is not to consume, it's to be a producer. You say you're going through there, you're saving audios, you're thinking how can I use that and make that relatable to the hiking community. So that's number 1, and then number 2 is the fact that you use the word relatable, and that's why, as you know, these are getting pushed out to so many people. People are sharing them because they're thinking, oh, my friend would love this video because this is exactly what we do when we're trying to pack for a hike or we come back from a hike and we're all torn up or
Mm-hmm.
everything like that, how you had at your one of your last videos. And so it just it keeps that snowball
Yep.
rolling. But the only way to get to that place is you have to, yeah, become a consumer or a producer rather than a consumer. And so I'm guessing whenever you go on YouTube now, TikTok, Instagram, you're looking at it in a different lens.
Very much so. Yeah, like I said, I used to use YouTube mostly for research purposes, for researching gear or trails I'm about to hike. And now when I scroll through the shorts and everything, it's doing exactly that. I watch videos and go, that's kind of funny. Like, that's relatable. I
Right.
could do, I can relate to that. Then I go, okay, well, now how can I adapt that so that I could post this on my platform and share it to people and, again, make it more relatable. And I think where some of the, where I'm having some success too, and I haven't been getting it very long, so it's hard to say whether it's going to keep going, but finding relatable content that I also haven't seen reposted yet again and again and again. Because sometimes I'll see a video of somebody, some sort of relatable hiking video, but then I'll see 50 other accounts do the exact same audio, the
100%.
exact same style. It's just a different person with a different background. And I'm like, I feel like it kind of works, but then I look at their likes, their shares, how many views there are there. I'm like, it's not as growing as much as the original. Because when you go to the audio to like use audio, it goes in I think it goes in order of like the most viewed video and then descends from there. And you'll get like one video that's at like 24 million, and you'll get one that's at like 600,000, and then it'll be like 10,000,
Yep.
1,000, and then in the hundreds. And so then it's like, okay, clearly you can't just pump out the same thing over and over again. You need to adapt it and change it slightly so that it's, again, fresh for the audience.
Good hack right there. Yeah, because otherwise it kind of just gets watered down,
Mm-hmm.
watered down, watered down even more and more and more, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's funny because I actually saw that one that went viral for me. While I was doing the same thing you were. I was scrolling through, saw a guy that kind of did one for mountain or for climbing, and then I thought, I can make that better. And so I added a tweak, use it for hiking. But now I've seen other people take mine
Yep.
and make it. I've seen mine now become, and they've done a really really good job. Some of them are filming it with the Sony camera, really going into it, and so it can either be watered down or they can make it better. But if you get it early enough, you can make it better.
Yep.
It becomes fresh for people to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yours was actually the first one I'd ever seen of that video, like that style.
Oh, nice.
And
Now you've probably seen it a few other
yeah, now I've
times,
seen it a
right?
ton of times. And then I thought you were like, you had the original idea of it. And then when you were saying in your video that you would take it from climbing, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then it's funny
Yeah.
because I had a ton of people send me your video and they're like, oh, this is really funny. Like, yeah, you guys are like the 100th person to send this to me. And this is actually the guy that I'm working with right now in his academy. So my girlfriend actually showed it to me where he's on the couch. She goes, oh, this is really funny. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's Chad. And she goes, oh, shit, I didn't even realize it.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's hilarious. Yeah. It's all probably because of that CTA to share it
Yep.
too, man. Yeah, that's freaking
Yeah.
awesome. Ah, that's hilarious. Well, cool. So, yeah, like what advice I guess would you give to somebody that might be on the fence to they're experiencing some of those obstacles of either posting or not knowing, understanding the algorithm or X, Y, and Z. What would advice would you give to somebody that might be in that position, that might be hesitant to, coming on to the academy, getting into our groups and stuff like that? What would you tell them?
Yeah. So I understand like the hesitation a lot of people have because there are a lot of creators and YouTube videos. The amount of videos I watch, not necessarily related to hiking, but like stick with me and I'm going to show you the three key ways to be successful on YouTube for free. And then it's like a 30-minute long video of them giving this spiel, and then at the end of it, they're like, so sign up today for three payments of $400, and you're like, okay, there it is.
Right.
There's so much so much like that out there. It's hard to trust. Is this real, or is this person being genuine, or are they just trying to get my money? Your
Yep.
I've never signed up for any of those things before, because again, that just kind of was very disheartening. I was like, okay, yours was the first one that I was like, you know what, this is very specific to what I want to do. Watching your videos and then talking with you in your initial conference call, it was very reassuring, and I'm like, okay, this is something that could work. And then I guess I can say for somebody who's on the fence, I didn't see the progress until I took your academy and
Mm-hmm.
started going through all the steps that you are telling us to do. And I'm doing it at a slower pace than what a lot of people I think are doing, because you have it like the first 30 days. Well,
Mm-hmm.
just because of the having to work, and then I'm also a field trainer as an officer, so I train new officers. So when we get somebody else in, I got to take them under my wing and teach them how to work in the field. That takes a lot of time out of my free time, because outside of work I have to be now building a curriculum for these other officers.
Dang.
So I'm doing it at a much slower pace. But even at this really slow pace, we saw what you said, 7,000 some percent
Yeah.
increase. And I hadn't seen that until I took your academy and started following those steps. So I would,
Yeah.
anybody that's on the fence, I'd say, if as long as you do exactly what you're saying in your academy,
Right.
you can be successful with this. Whatever your idea of success is with it, whether you want to get money or products, or you just want to have a good following to spread your art throughout everybody, like it works. It really does. It's just keeping up with it and being consistent. Because another thing, early on in your videos, you talked about how you go through this cycle about how you're going to post. And I went through this exact same thing with YouTube. Really confident, you're going to post, and then you share, and then nothing happens, and you get so discouraged by it because you put in so much work and you got nothing out of it. But then in your videos, you're explaining to me that, I went through this, everyone else goes through this that shares, and it's a cycle. It will come back around, and you'll start kind of reaping the benefits of being consistent with this. And then it did. All of a sudden, it started kind of working and taking off. So it's huge. I would say just listening to what you said has really changed everything about my content. Yeah.
Ah, awesome, man. That makes me stoked to hear. And it's crazy, man, because it's not even saying if you wouldn't have joined the academy, but it's if you didn't take the steps necessary that you wanted to take, we wouldn't be sitting here with you having 11,000 followers and getting hit up. I'm sure you're getting probably hit up by a few brands here and there
Yep.
that have probably seen your work. I think one of them was Rec Pack.
Ret Pack. Yep. They sent me some meals. I got in the mail just a few days ago. So we're doing a snowshoe trip in 2 weeks, and I'm taking them on there and um, make a video for them and try it out and everything. So I mean that was huge because I hadn't even been I've been engaging with certain companies just like you've been suggesting in your academy. That wasn't even one that I was on my radar. I hadn't even heard of them.
Right.
And then just out of nowhere, I get this message. I went onto their website, kind of researched them a little bit. It was like, yeah, this is, something that I'd be willing to work with type of thing. And then, and
Right.
just having that. And then there's been two other companies now that I've kind of started collaborating with that they're sending me some of their gear as well. And I just got to,
Dude.
and again, these two companies weren't on my radar. I hadn't even heard of them. They're smaller, companies that have been around for only a few years. They're trying to, one's out in Denver, and they're a merino wool company. And they're like, hey, let's just send you some shirts and go out and try them on your next trip and let us know what you think. I'm like, man, like again, I hadn't even reached out to these people, and just consistently posting, consistently taking these steps, consistently trying to follow through with this program has led to at least three companies now reaching out and now sending me equipment to go use.
So cool,
Yeah.
man. And that's one of the biggest benefits of also growing. And that's why I always tell people you have the probably, and we'll probably get into this. So this will probably be my last question for you when I get into it. But you have the UGC side of stuff where it sounds like, from what it sounds like, you're going to be doing that maybe with some Rec Pack stuff. They're giving you stuff. You're going to be making some videos for that. But what I say in the course is to make money, definitely doing UGC stuff. But you can never forget to build your audience in the background, because it makes it exponentially easier to get in with these brands. It makes it, a lot of times they're going to be coming inbound to you because you're just out there. And all that, every single time you post, you're putting your name out there more and more and more and more. And now that increases the chance of those becoming inbounds to you rather than you going outbound to them. At some point, it'll be to the fact where you don't even have to reach out to people. They're just reaching out to you, which is what you're starting to experience, especially when you get over that 5-figure mark of the 10K. They start to see that K
Yep.
in your account, and they're thinking, oh, this guy is somebody that can make good videos and he would be good to promote this to his audience. And so, but at the same time, that's where we talk about it in the course. It's in week 4 where you're talking about your next move is to get him on retainer.
Yep.
Okay, so that takes a different type of skill set than just reaching out. And so, what is kind of your next steps, do you feel like, for yourself in terms of where you're going with this social media thing? Where do you see yourself, I guess, in a year? Where do you hope to
Oh
be?
man, where I'd like to be is that I'm starting to bring in somewhat of an income from doing this, because the UGC, I had never even heard of that until you had talked to me about it. I was like, that makes so much more sense because I was I never really thought I would have enough of a following or have enough base to make enough just from views alone. So
Mm-hmm.
having that was absolutely huge, kind of a turn of thought process for me that okay, I could start working with other companies. You still need the following, but it doesn't necessarily all your income has to come from this. So speaking with you about UGC, that was the first time I thought I could actually start making money doing this,
Right.
because I've known for a long time, like I have the knowledge and the framework to do this. I just have no idea how or the direction or anything like that. So if I mean within the next year, I could realistically see start bringing in income. Whether that's enough to quit my job, I have no idea. It would be great. It would be absolutely fantastic. But I don't know if that would be a realistic thing. But I would be just happy if I can bring in something to start showing like, yeah, this is a kind of a professional position for me at this point.
Oh man, we'll have you on in a year. We'll see where you're at.
Watch it.
This will be fun.
Watch. It's gonna be like so bad. I'm gonna be like living on the streets or something and like panhandling and like, yeah, it didn't work out as well as we thought it would.
Yeah, okay. Maybe we'll delete that episode. No, no, man, you're doing awesome. Well, again, man, thanks so much for coming on here. And again, congrats on the huge success with this. I randomly saw one of yours pop off and I DM'd you and I said, bro,
Yep.
these things are popping off, man. And then they just kept one after another, one after another. They just kept going and going and going. So I definitely wanted to get him on here to talk about some of that stuff. So if people are interested in following you, where can they find you on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube?
Instagram and TikTok, it's the Gritty Hiker, and then
Like that.
on YouTube, it's the Rugged Endeavors. And so I
Perfect.
thought about switching the YouTube over, but the problem is I've just put too much into it with that other name that I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be too complicated to switch over. I'd rather just keep it separate.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Gotcha. Right on, brother. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on, and we will catch up with you in a year.
Cool, appreciate it.
Perfect.
Thanks, Chad.